What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.
At NBS, we believe in banking for life. For over 160 years, we've been a trusted banking provider for generations of locals like you. We know our clients personally and build long-term relationships with them, offering flexibility by giving our staff freedom to make quick decisions to put them first. Experience banking for life with NBS.
Welcome to the Bays Joinery Football Focus, your prime source for all things football in the top of the South. I'm Chris Butler, alongside me, my co-host Neil Connell. Good to have you back, mate.
Yeah, good to be back. Thank you, Chris.
We'll talk about it shortly, but Skippy got a bit of a job to do.
Yeah,
The first game out the way, but we will talk about that. For those that don't know, coaching Samoa at the moment with the Oceania Cup. So we wish him all the best of luck. Today, we're thrilled to have two very special guests join us just for the first part of the podcast. Katie Adams, who is with the Women's and Girls Mainland Football Development Program, I guess you could say. What's the official title?
Yeah, there's a few variations out there, but I like to go with the Women and Girls Lead for Mainland Football. Yeah.
Lovely. And
all the same, really.
Cherie Llewellyn, who is associated with the Richmond Football Club. So that's where the roots are, but you were working with them, but now you're actually running a program in Nelson as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. So I'm running the Fantails program.
Okay. So we'll talk about that very shortly. First of all, Katie, can you tell us a little bit more about your role at Mainland and what your job is, basically?
Yeah, sure. So I've been with Mainland for 3 months now, so I'm the newbie. Pretty new into it. So my role is to, I guess, create some meaningful impact in the lives of girls and women through football in our region, which is pretty exciting. And this probably looks like making football available to all girls and women that want to participate. So a lot of like breaking down barriers to participate. So that might look like, different times of the day or more modified or alternate ways of playing the game, reducing fees, joining up with friends to make that kind of social connection, and, create that sense of belonging and creating like safe and inclusive spaces. So we're running some really cool programs in that space to help break down barriers. Also part of my role is building leadership and capability across the women's game. So whether or not that's like in the refereeing space or the coaching space or looking at player development pathways as well, that is kind of all encapsulated in my role.
So is this an initiative rolled out through New Zealand Football? Does each sort of region have their own development officer, or is this something specific to Mainland?
It is. Yeah, there are similar roles in each of the regions, slight variations in a lot of the regions. So on the back of the Women's World Cup here, we had the legacy lead kind of programs, and which are an awesome program. So that's like the Fantails and the Kick in It and the Women in Leadership program. So around New Zealand, there are kind of variations of my role, but we're all generally kind of working on the same things together. So it's great when we all get to meet up and collaborate and connect and see what's working in each other's regions.
And on top of that, Cherie, to complement that, you're taking on a role, a similar role in developing women's football in the Nelson Bays region or Nelson Tasman region. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got involved? And I believe you're at Richmond, but that's kind of broadened.
Yeah, so I just got asked if I would run the Fantails program, which is a no-brainer for me because my daughter is participating in it. So yeah, it's been really, really cool. So that's for girls aged 4 to 12. And we've had amazing numbers and the girls are absolutely loving it, which is really cool. And then also off the back of that, we've created a girls only 11th, 12th grade league. So 4 teams in that. They've played for, I think this will be the 4th week this weekend. And it's amazing to see. So.
And you kind of started this with Richmond, is that right? Because you had a role there, is that correct? Or
so I'm still technically working for Richmond as well.
Yes.
So I'm sort of admin junior coordinator for them. Yeah, husband plays, my other two boys play, but yeah, my little girl, she was like, well, I want to play, but I don't want to play with the boys or against the boys. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
so
I do notice, sometimes if I watch junior football, obviously sometimes I see all girls teams, but sometimes I see girls mixed in with boys. So I guess, with the women's game as it evolved, you did see more participation with young women playing in boys' sides. What happens now in that scenario? Is there some girls that just don't want to play in a boys' league, or but they do get a bit of a choice, or how does that work?
Yeah, there's a lot of research out there now, and from what we know of, the programs that we are running and feedback we're getting from girls is they really flourish and really love the girls only space.
Right.
It's, there's a lot. I mean, I've got my own personal experience. Like I used to play in a lot of like mixed teams, and you never got past the ball. Like it was no fun, and and all this like fear of being judged or not being good enough. And so just to be able to like completely remove those barriers for girls and young women, and to just have this really safe space where they can just come and be themselves, have a laugh, make some friends, like still kick a ball and play football, but like not have those other pressures, of what it means in a mixed space or a mixed environment.
And are you finding that evolving more and more in your role here locally?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
There are some girls who definitely do want to still play with the boys, but the majority is that they do, like Katie said, just want to play with the girls against the girls. There is a team at Nelson Suburbs that are still playing all girls against the boys, and they're doing really well, which is cool for their development. But generally we're finding that they do want to play with girls against girls.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, sure.
It's good to provide both options, because there are, as girls get a little bit older, or there might be, more competitive girls, like it is cool to play with the boys or to play in the mixed league, but it's awesome having the option so that girls can choose to either be in the girls only space or play in the mixed.
Yeah, sure. So it's about participation. I mean, women have been playing football ever since I've played. There've been women's leagues, but what's happened over the years? What are you finding? Is there a definite increase in participation, or is it still a struggle? I've noticed in Nelson, probably last year, I haven't heard so much conversation this year, Neil, in the local league. There was a lot of talk about how many teams, and are we struggling to get enough women players? But how are you finding overall participation in the women's game?
I think I think it has increased, but it's still pretty poor. Like I think it's maybe about 20% of the population, of the female population that participate in football. So, and that's obviously much higher when we're talking about boys or men.
Yeah.
So still heaps of opportunities to do better in that space. It's cool. Like, so I used to play football when I was younger. Although it took me a while. Like, I used to watch my brothers play on the sideline because football was never really an option for me growing up. I had to play netball. But that's changed, and it's so cool being out there and seeing all the girl gangs like out there playing football and just like loving it and embracing it, and it's so cool to see that. And I think especially off the back of the World Cup, like just seeing, like the inspiration and like just the really like positive vibes that girls have in this space, like seeing their role models playing on TV or having the opportunity to visibly see women playing football, and then girls can be like, oh yeah, like maybe I can do that. That's like I can play football. So just seeing that in reality.
What are some of the challenges that you're finding locally about getting girls to play the game? I mean, obviously we don't want to talk them into it, but encouraging girls to play the game.
Oh, is it a me one? Sorry.
Yes. I've given you the tough question.
I think a lot of it comes down to whether their friends are playing, which is, for girls, they don't usually want to do something by themselves. They'll go if one of their friends is.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it's just trying to make it more attractive, and that it's not just, a boys' sport and like that kind of thing. So we are hoping to run like a kicking it hub later in the year, which is in high school. So it's sort of for 12 to 17-year-olds. Straight. So then hopefully that'll kind of break down some of those barriers.
So it's not too dissimilar to the guys' game where you follow your mates, don't you?
Yeah.
And often that's why you're involved in club football. So very much the same in women's sport. The physicality side of it, this is a conversation we had earlier in rugby about the physical side of the game. Is that a bit of a deterrent, and do you have to try and modify the game to, to take that out of it? So it's in those junior levels?
Yeah, I think, probably from a participation lens, definitely what we hear is it's good to remove that competition or like the competitiveness and just focus on the fun, and they're having a go and they're like just participating in whatever way you want. And sure, there's always going to be some competitive people that want to do that. But yeah, I think that if we flip it around and focus on the fun, then we're more likely to keep that young girl in the game because they're going to be having positive experiences.
And with the fantail type programs that you are running, do you have to modify it slightly to get the people to get more involved in the game?
Not really, no.
No?
So it's been like the program's been so well designed by New Zealand Football that it's already made for girls by girls. So yeah, no, it's awesome. And it is just all about that participation and fun. And we bring in a wee life skill. So they might be talking about being brave or having a role model. And so the girls are getting that aspect of it as well, which is really cool. I think it definitely is true what Katie's saying, like keeping it fun and not competitive for them. So yeah, my daughter's game on the weekend, I think they lost 9-0 or something, but my girls came off absolutely buzzing. Best game ever. Like they were like, we don't even know what the score was. They just absolutely loved it. So yeah, it's really cool to have that aspect of it.
We watch the international game now, when we watch not only the White Ferns, but also if we're watching perhaps the Lions, and the crowds that you get at the women's game, especially after the World Cup. Are you noticing a spike in interest with those kind of things happening?
Yeah. Absolutely. Like just girls are more interested in football and like want to be part of it and be part of that excitement and that fun. And it's cool. We, on our Fantails registration form, we ask them if they know who the Football Ferns are. And, like most of them do, which is really cool. So we recently, and I think it was Girls and Women's Month earlier this year in March, and we ran a festival and the Football Ferns came along to that. And I think it was really cool because it was like the first time post the World Cup where the Football Ferns were like, oh, whoa, like this is the impact we're making on these communities. Like there's so many girls here and they're all here to see us. And I think that was just, that was really cool to see that.
With the introduction of the women's team in the Southern League, Neil, we had a couple of great players come in a couple of weeks ago to talk about how the season was going and their pathway. Just fantastic ambassadors for the sport. What are you finding the feedback is with people, watching the game and seeing them play?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And well done to New Zealand Football. Firstly, they, in the back of the World Cup, as we spoke about, they invested a lot of money in the girls' game, and this is what's brought on these programs and employing people with experience to help it and progress it. But I think, just seeing the more coverage, even with the Women's National League, which will start, and also more coverage of the Ferns on TV helps hugely. Yeah. Just in our region alone, obviously the women qualifying for the Southern League, and that gives the young girls something to aspire to as well. They come down, they watch, they get involved, they want to be on the pitch, they want to be that girl. And I think everything like that can only help the girls game.
Tell us about your visit, Katie. You are in our region, so
I love Nelson.
you can always move here.
Yeah, she's going to move.
Nelson's always been a special place for me. I think we used to come here, from Christchurch, so the annual Christmas holiday trip was always up here. I'm all for sunshine and beaches, so it works well.
So your visit here was really, you'll try and fit in a bit of work, but it was really to come and check out the region. But what specifically are you doing in the region? Yeah,
so this was all off the back of Cherie Llewellyn. She was coming up for one of her kind of regular trips. So she's like, come along. Like I was like, yeah, I'll be there. I guess just like mainly like connections and relationship building. It's good to meet the people here on the ground that are doing all the awesome mahi in the communities. And then also like seeing some of the great programs in action. So it was cool to go along to Cherie's Fantails program last night and just be part of that, and also meet the young women Fantail coaches and just, making connections there and seeing the incredible work that they do to inspire these girls. We also had a women's coaching meeting. Was that last night? Yep. So that was, again, just, another touch point with other things that are going on in the football space here. We've had some connects with Sport Tasman as well. We've got a code share Hui after this, where we're going to be connecting across code as well, just talking about collaborations and opportunities to provide more opportunities for girls and young women here in the region. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Cherie, if anyone's listening to this and they want to get involved in one of the programs, what's the best way to try and get in touch with you guys?
Well, they can direct email me, which
Yeah.
is admin at Richmond Athletic. Or obviously Katie or Cherie Llewellyn, or just the Facebook page, the Nelson Bays Football Facebook page, and then we'll take it from there, which is cool. But just off the back of what you were saying before about the girls Southern League, like our Fantails girls love going and watching because it's their coaches that are playing.
Yes.
So they have that association, and they just it's real cool. And I think it's awesome for them to be like, oh, we know them, they're on the field. Like it's real cool. It's real cool in our region that we have that. So
and aren't they doing well at the moment?
Yeah.
So it's great to see. All right. Well, look, we appreciate you coming in and give us some insight on some of the work that you've been doing with the women's game. We really enjoy going through the results and doing the picks each week, even though we don't know anything about it. And I'm sure they're shouting at us.
Speak for yourself.
You've got deep
Watch
intel. But it's great to follow the women's game and see the growth of it. And we certainly love watching it on telly too. Some great football, and it's great that you guys are on the grassroots level bringing that game through. So well done, and thank you very much for coming in to talk to us. I know you've got to go off to an important meeting, so we can let you go. All right, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for
thank
having us.
you.
Yeah, big thanks to Katie Adams, who is the women's and girls lead for Mainland football, and also Cherie Llewellyn, who's running the Fantails program and also with Richmond Football Club. So great to have them in, Neil, and very interesting work, and great to see that development happening.
Yeah, and that's it. It just takes time, doesn't it? So you get them in at a young age and you get them to fall in love with the game, and some will carry on and some will go to different sports. But it's a long process, but it's the same with the boys, isn't it? So there's no difference. Get them in, get them playing, get them enjoying it, having fun. And then when they get a little bit older, hopefully we might just produce one or two who can kick on and play at a half decent level. Yeah, absolutely. A big shout out to our naming rights sponsor, Bays Joinery, led by George Molnar and the team for your joinery needs, and also our venue sponsor, the Turf Hotel, and bit of push what's happening this weekend. Thursday night it's jam night, Friday night DJ Tripper, and Saturday night kicks off with Kick. Should be a good night. Sunday there's a meat raffle, $2,500. It's a lot of meat.
Yeah, it is a lot of meat. Have to be in for that. In today's episode, we're going to be touching on senior men and women's local premiership, the Southern League, both men and women, the latest from New Zealand football, and overseas news. Well, really, it's all about the Euros. Let's get things underway. Let's check out what's happening in First Division women's football, thanks to Sheehan Financial, KiwiSaver Insurance and Financial Planning. And it was a full round of fixtures this weekend. Motueka Angels going down 9-0 to the Richmond Foxes. Golden Bay Maidens, Mapua Cougars doing it away, 2-1 over that. That's a bit of a surprise, you would imagine. But Mapua's actually coming into some form lately. Get Cars FC Nelson Diamonds, and I wouldn't have picked this, but obviously some improvement with the Diamonds game. 4-3, the Swans winning, but geez, that was close.
Yeah.
And the Sprig and Fern Tahuna Breakers, well, there you go. They get the win against the reserves. You did say perhaps they might be a bit light this week.
Yeah, they might have been. So, but, a couple of great results there. I know they've still lost, but well done to the Diamonds. They've obviously made a good game of that. I've been on the back of some tough results lately.
Yeah.
And the Cougars as well. Well done to them.
Yeah.
Good result over in Golden Bay.
That's right, because you've got to travel the hill. It definitely takes it out of you, that's for sure. Yeah. Okay, the draw for this weekend and Nelson Suburbs Reserves, they've got to recover, and they're taking on the Motueka Angels, but it is at Saxon Field.
Yeah. Well, again, unfortunately, the Southern League women don't have a game this weekend.
No, they don't. No.
So that's been put back to the Kate Shepherd Cup round. So, so reserves will have one or two more players to pick from there. So that'll be a tough one for Motueka, I think.
Yeah. Nelson Suburbs Swans taking on the Golden Bay Shield Maidens. So the Swans do have a home match, but the Shield Maidens will be, they'll be a little bit disappointed probably with that result. So they'll be keen to get one back, won't they?
Yeah, they will be. Yeah. But, the Swans they're pretty strong, so they'll be looking to try and get into that second spot along with the reserves. Foxes still unbeaten, just look like team to beat at the moment.
Yeah.
But I think the Swans, they might get up for that one. I think the Swans.
Mapua Cougars take on Tahuna Breakers, and they both had
Two
wins
good
last
results.
week,
Two good results.
didn't they?
So, yeah, it should be a cracker.
It is at the no, it's actually at the Mapua Domain.
Right.
So it's a home match for Mapua. Gee, that's a tough call.
Yeah, toss a coin there. Who are you going for?
Well, actually, I don't often call it. So I'm going to say draw.
Oh, no. I'll put my neck out. I'll go for Tahuna. I'll go for Tahuna.
I'll go for Tahuna.
Yeah, go for Tahuna
Rightio.
on the back of a good win.
There you go. All right. And Hot House Creative Richmond Foxes taken on Get Cars FC Nelson Diamonds. And, geez, they will be buoyed by that result last week.
Brilliant. Really pleased for them, actually.
Yeah. But hard press against the Foxes at Jubilee Park.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. So hopefully they can, give a good account of themselves and build on a little bit of last week. And looks like you said they've turned the corner a little bit. So, the Foxes, unbeaten. It's hard to see anything but a Foxes win there.
The Foxes certainly leading the way at the moment on 27, followed closely by the Reserves, who are still in there. And boy, look at that. The Swans on the same points and for third position. So are close for second and third. Nelson Pine Senior Men's First Division and the results from last weekend. And, geez, it certainly wasn't a walkover.
No.
Richmond put up a good fight at home against Rangers, 2-0.
Yeah. Good result there for Rangers. Keeps them at the top of the league. Obviously, we'll talk about in a little bit. Big game this weekend over in Marlborough. But Smith and Richmond, that must have been a fairly tight game.
Yeah, you'd imagine, wouldn't you?
Looking at it. So, but Rangers are a strong side no matter where they go. So
yeah, Golden Bay Mountain Goats. Yes, they are 2-0 against Tahuna, and that they are strong at home. They are actually had some good results this year. Tahuna have. They've come into some form as well, so it must have been a tight match. But the home ground advantage coming to the fore. Yeah,
it looks like it. The Mountain Goats good at home. I've only seen them play one time. And they have got some good players, fairly strong. Jay Anderson there, a couple of good midfielders as well. But that's a great result for them, back on track there.
And the Carinian FC Nelson will be postponed because of the Chatham Cup round on Sunday, which we'll talk about. Motueka First 11, they took on Reserves, and the Reserves showing their class here, 7-0, so must have really turned it on.
Yeah, back on track, the Reserves. They had one or two of our boys playing, but yeah, they're a good side this year, Reserves. A lot of guys vying to get into the SPL team, so they go out there and they try to show what they can do, and they're doing that this year. To be fair to them, they're doing really well.
Okay, the draw for this weekend, and it's the big one.
Yeah.
It's Rangers taking on FC Nelson. It is at the AMP Showgrounds in Blenheim, so Rangers have the home ground advantage, and this is really, it's a bit of a decider, isn't it? Because although FC have a couple of games in hand, when things even up, it's these games that you've got to win in order to secure that top spot. So what are your thoughts with this game here?
Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. The pitches have been closed. We were over in Blenheim last week with the academy, so it was absolutely frozen down like it was here all weekend. And I've seen the pitches were closed during the week over in Blenheim, but I'm sure they'll bounce back. Good pitches over there.
Yeah.
Look after them really well. Good surface to play on. And that's going to be an absolute cracker. But looking at it, if I had to pick one, I'd probably pick the Rangers and I'd get home.
The home ground advantage.
I think so.
There you go. Sprig and Fern Tahuna taking on Motueka First 11. It is at Tahuna.
Yep. Oh, yeah, probably Sprig and Fern, I think. They're looking to kick back after last week. So the Motueka again, you never know what you're going to get when they come over the hill. So, yep, but I'll go for Tahuna for that one.
And the Reserves are going to take on Richmond. That is at Saxon Field. You're at home
on Sunday.
Yeah. So you're going to have the Reserves will have full availability of some players.
One or two might need a bit of game time, but it's not something we do. We put boys in that need game time or come back for injury. It's there's a lot of good youngsters in there that deserve to play week in, week out, and Dave does a good job with them. So they'll first and foremost they'll play, and then if we need one or two to get some game time, then we'll do that.
But you are at home and you're not having to take some boys away with you, so they will be full strength. Even though Richmond did play well, Are we going for the reserves, do you think?
Yeah, at home, I'd definitely go for the reserves this weekend.
There we go. The standings at the moment. Well, this is interesting because Rangers are certainly sitting on top at the moment on 20, but only 2 points behind are FC Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
They, because of Chatham Cup rounds, are now 2 games behind, 2 games in hand on 18.
Mm-hmm.
So vitally important for Rangers to pick up wins, a win this weekend against FC Nelson.
Yeah.
If not, watch out because FC Nelson will be charging
absolutely
with 2 games in hand. They do have to take on Corrini as a catch up.
Yeah, tough one.
The reserves also not far behind.
No,
they have a game in hand.
Yes.
So if FC tip up against Rangers and reserves have a win, they jump ahead.
Yeah.
And in actual fact, they've got a game in hand against Rangers. So
it's tight. It's very tight. But even if Rangers win that one against FC Nelson and FC Nelson win the 2 games in hand, that puts them on 23 and they win the 2 games in hand, 24. So it's just all play for, isn't it? And
it is.
The reserves, they'll be looking to sort of, keep in amongst it.
Well, they're certainly not out of it, are they?
No,
it's only
not.
3-point difference with a game in hand. So if Rangers go down and well, anyway.
I don't remember it being this tight for a long time in that division.
No. I mean, last time it was really mainly, FC and Rangers, and both have had success at the top, but now bringing the reserves in to that 3rd position being so tight, it makes life very interesting indeed.
Yeah, it's good.
Southern League Women and the Kate Shepherd Cup was played this weekend, and Nelson travelled down to Kashmir Tech and
well, Kashmir Technical as a National League side, Anna Longo now playing there. They've got a lot of good players. I think by all accounts, top 2 years they went down and started pretty well, and then they conceded 1 goal through. It was just an error, and then the second one, and then it's tough after that. The girls sort of struggled a little bit after that. It's fair to say, but they kept going to the end. Fair play to them, but against Cash Tech, it's going to be tough. Yeah,
Cash Tech have got stronger as the season's gone on because they just keep adding players to their squad, and there's no doubt that they're aiming to as you point out, to be a National League side. And
they've still got the pride at the moment, but yes, I would suggest that most of that team will come from Kashmir Technical.
Right, so they're building a squad, really.
Yeah. So until it goes club-based National League for the women as well, there's still the pride. So they will be Kashmir Technical in good shape.
Yeah. Yes, they are. But hard luck to the girls. I'm sure they'll bounce back.
Yeah,
as we're still waiting for actually Southern League draw.
The Southern League draw's out yesterday, so it's all confirmed.
But that's not till next weekend, is that right?
Yeah. So there was, we had to wait, and some of the draw coming out. Initially, we thought they were playing in Dunedin against Rosalind Waikari.
Right.
And then that's been moved to the weekend of Kate Shepherd.
That's right. Because there is actually, I think, 2 games this weekend. But
there is 2 games.
The Nelson doesn't start till next weekend.
Following week, home to Coastal Spirit, I believe, looking at a draw.
Yeah.
So it'll still be a tough game at home.
Yeah.
But they're in the league.
Yeah.
The cup's always a bonus, isn't it? So the league's the most important thing. So they'll look to represent themselves well in that. Okay,
we'll talk more about that next week. Southern League men and had a bit of a break because of Chatham Cup. And of course, the big game on the weekend, high hopes for FC, big build-up, and thinking that, we managed to get a result against Nelson Suburbs, Ferrymead Bays below the table of Nelson at the moment. So perhaps we've got a very good chance, but ended up being 3-1 to Ferrymead Bays. And so obviously Ferrymead, after a couple of losses in the league too, rose, they had to fly up. It was awful weather, apparently. I was actually in Christchurch. It wasn't too bad.
It's terrible.
And on Sunday, it was pretty wet, but Ferrymead Bays.
I think they actually drove up.
Oh, did they?
I think they actually drove up, and I think, obviously driving back, I think the Lewis was closed, so they had to.
It was, because we had to go.
So they had to go through Kaikoura, so it would have been a long day for them, but they would have been happy with the result in the end.
Well, I just wondered, they must have had a chat about it, and, sometimes you wonder about the divide between local football and Southern League, and they weren't far off it. 3-1 isn't an absolute.
It was 0-0 at half time. Remember?
Exactly.
Conditions probably. I wasn't at the game, as I said. I was over in Blenheim, so unfortunately, I was looking forward to watching it. But yeah, I had other commitments in Blenheim with the academy. So yeah, so speaking to people that were at the game, it was, it was a good enough game for 45 minutes, and then I think Bays got a dodgy penalty, some have said.
Right.
But I can't comment on it, I didn't see it. But
Yeah.
and then the second one and the third one, and then fair play to FC Nelson. They kept fighting, get a goal back. So yeah, they've done well.
Yeah,
Made a
they
good
have
account
done
of
well.
themselves, so they'll be proud of themselves.
Yeah, but Ferrymead Bay's obviously showing their class.
And I think that's the thing, with the Southern League, it's can teams compete in it? Yes, they probably can, but consistently doing it.
Yeah.
Consistently doing it with 1 or 2 injuries and the different rules involved with under 20 players and the foreign players and things like that. So I think that's where it comes in the hardest for teams. But well done to FC Nelson, obviously beating us and then give a good account themselves against Ferrymead Bays. So they'll be happy with.
They're certainly not far off, and obviously if things go their way and they do make it in the league, there's no doubt they're going to have to get 1 or 2 more experienced players in a squad. But the divide is not massive, is it? Between you look at a Rangers taking on Ferrymead, they would make a good account for themselves as well. But yeah, as you say, you've got to do it week in and week out.
That's a difficult thing.
And Ferrymead at that level just showed they could do it. Saw the photographs, saw the flares going off. It looked like
excellent atmosphere.
Something
well done.
in European football.
Just shame the weather didn't play its part a little bit.
Yeah,
but by all accounts, still a good crowd down there. Everyone down there supporting. So the flares and everything that goes with it. Well done to them. Good stuff.
Like the fire brigade didn't turn up, but
too wet anyway.
Yeah, great for FC to be able to have that opportunity and great excitement amongst the local league. So well done, FC. Hard luck this year. There's always next year. The draw for this weekend in the Southern League men's, it kicks off again, and Cashmere Technical take on Dunedin City Royals. That's at Garrick Memorial Park.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, we played the Royals last week, and we played very well that day after bouncing back. So Cashmere Technical, obviously top of the league. So I think Tom Schwartz might be back now. I think Gab's obviously still away. Along with Lyle Matheson, but Cash Tech at home. It's tough for Royals coming up here and then going to Cash Tech, but Cash Tech home win for me there.
Universities of Canterbury taking on Ferrymead Bays, and Ferrymead, a couple of results that they'd be disappointed in, apart from obviously getting through to the next round of the Chatham Cup. So they'll be keen to do a bounce back here against Universities.
Yep, Universities, we played them down there, play on English Park on the turf there. So they played very well against us. And, good young team. Ferrymead Bays, obviously, winning at the weekend there. They'll be up for it, but to keep in contention. I think there's 6 points behind us now, Bays, in the league. So there's a little bit of a gap opening. So, they'll be looking to get a win there and then keep in touch there with the top 4. For me, I think Ferrymead Bays will get over them there.
Nomads United taking on Christchurch United, and again, Nomads actually been playing quite well.
Nomads good side.
It is actually at home.
Yeah, Tullett Park. Yeah, Nomads a very good young team, as we said before. Beat us down there 2-0, deserved it as well. And Christchurch United again, so that'd be a cracker. 2 good young teams going at it. Stick my neck out, will I? I'm going to go for a draw there. I don't normally, but honestly, that's a tight game. Nomads and Christchurch, so I'll go for a draw there. I think Nomads are, a lot of people have underestimated them this year.
Yeah.
But they're a decent side. So yeah, I'm going to go with a draw there, I think.
Rightio. Selwyn United taking on Coastal Spirit, and tough match for Selwyn.
Yeah, tough one.
Yeah,
Coastal
sitting second on the table. And Nelson Suburbs, it's on Sunday. Kickoff is at 12:30. Make sure you get down and support the boys. Now, taking on FC20. FC20 have been struggling a bit this year, but take them lightly at your peril, Neil.
Well, you don't, do you? I mean, you see what happens. You go out with the wrong attitude, and you're losing the cup and things like that. So we beat them 9-0. Sorry, at the first game of the season, but they have improved slightly. Within that, we said at the time they'll improve along the way. So start around 2 at home. We're looking to, after a good result against Dunedin, we're looking to hopefully score a few goals in that game and keep in touch, because if we drop any more points at home, then that gap just gets bigger. And if we want to sort of keep in tally, we need to get a win.
So it's funny how life works out, because you're in a situation where you did lose that Chatham Cup game, and so you've had an opportunity to talk about that. You had a good bounce back against Dunedin City, and now you're going into a game which everyone's saying you should really win this.
Yeah.
So have you talked about that mindset with the boys?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's you learn from your mistakes, don't you?
Yeah.
So the players have realised that, I think. We haven't got much training in this week, to be honest, with the pitches closed. But we'll get a session in on Thursday. So you learn from your mistakes, as I said, and we'll take nobody lightly. And
it's funny in games like that, isn't it? Because you can talk about it as much as you want, and then even when you get onto the pitch, sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. Yeah, you can't get the ball in the back of the net or whatever it might be. But
I guess for us, it's just about playing our football, worrying about ourselves, not worrying about anyone else.
Yes.
And this weekend will be exactly that.
Yeah.
Go out there, worry about our own performances individually and collectively. We do that, we do everything right, and we should be able to get a result.
And if you play to your abilities, then the result will take care of itself. So good luck.
Hopefully.
Good luck. Nelson Suburbs taking on FC 20 at Saxonfield 12:30. So make sure you get down there. The standings, Cashmere Tech at the top, not far behind Coastal Spirit, and they're knocking on the door of National League representation.
Yeah, when the very first one we spoke about it before the league even started, mentioned Coastal Spirit. They'll be good this year, and they're proving that. They've recruited well. A lot of good players down there, so it's good to see. It's good to see somebody else in amongst the hunt as well.
Christchurch United in third, and if they have a couple of tip ups, then Nelson Suburbs certainly knocking on the door in the top three. As we turn our attention to the Oceania Cup, and New Zealand obviously involved, but also our good mate Ryan Skibby-Stewart is coaching Samoa. So let's go through what's happened so far. Bit of an upset in the draw, obviously, with the fact that New Zealand were to take on New Caledonia, but with all the upset politically at the moment, the fact that unfortunately that had to be cancelled. Vanuatu beating the Solomon Islands 1-0. And then for old Skippy, Tahiti, they are a good side. They went down 2-0. Don't know if you've managed to speak to him about the game.
Yeah, I spoke to Skippy and one or two of the players as well. Didn't start the game well, actually. Conceded a goal quite early within the start of the game, and then second goal as well. Second half, they played really well. Hit the post, hit the bar. So, quite unlucky. But if you don't get a good start, then it's always an uphill battle. So they've got Fiji next this afternoon, 4:00. So, good luck to them. That'll be a tough one.
And I would suggest that potentially the games are being televised on FIFA Plus.
Yeah, FIFA Plus.
Right? Yeah, right.
FIFA Plus, and just get a highlights package as well if you don't want to watch the whole game or you're working. So, good luck to the boys today. Sent them a good luck message. Dealing with Roy Krishna up top, 36 years old, still scoring goals.
Yeah, right.
So he'll be a handful.
Yeah.
But they need to get a result there if they want to qualify. So they know that. Hopefully they can pull one out of the bag.
Yeah. Other results: Fiji 5-1 over Papua New Guinea.
Strong.
New Zealand 3-0 over the Solomon Islands.
Yeah.
And then Vanuatu and New Caledonia, that game was cancelled. So games coming up: Papua New Guinea taking on Tahiti, Samoa and Fiji we've just mentioned. So that will be a tough game for Skippy's team. And then the next one is New Zealand and Vanuatu. So I'd suggest that obviously all going well, New Zealand will do that quite comfortably.
Yeah, they should do. They should do.
They should do.
Solomon Islands, New Caledonia, that'll be for the second spot, you would imagine. Sorry, that game cancelled, but Solomon Islands, Vanuatu looking for the second spot. So that game will be vital whenever they.
Okay, on to the Euros, and I might bypass that first game. All right, okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We're used to it. We're Scotland.
I don't know what I mean. Here's me going on about the fact that Germany aren't the team they used to. Boy, was I wrong. Yeah. I mean, I only really managed to get the highlights, but from my short view of it, they just showed what a classy team
Yeah,
they
very
are.
classy side.
I didn't see the home game. Obviously, you didn't. I don't know whether you only saw, a
No,
quarter of the
I
game.
suffered the whole lot,
Yes.
unfortunately.
So, from your perspective, what did you see in the game?
Yeah, I mean, Germany, brilliant. They played well, but Scotland were very, very poor, to be honest. And Scotland teams normally base themselves on hard working, digging in, grit, tackling, and there was none of that. There was none of that.
Yeah.
I mentioned before last week when we spoke about the game, the way Stevie Clapp plays with his 3-5-2, ends up one up top and five, and you end up with a back five, and you can't get out, and that's what happened. But for me, Scotland were so disappointing. When you look at the qualifying campaign, we can beat teams like Spain and Norway and good sides when everyone's performing, but there was too many people off the game. And against Germany, maybe the occasion got to them as well, actually. A big occasion, you never know. So Germany they just dismantled them.
So, we talked about, and I know there was comment from Roy Keane, about, I mean, I didn't see the full comment, but the inference was that they didn't get stuck in, and that's not Scottish football, because Scottish football is known, for taking teams on. And I think I talked about last week, well, what do you do against a side like Germany? You could park the bus. Yes, that's one way, but you might be lucky to get a draw or go down 1 or 2-0. But if you take them on, you never know, and could be 7-0, or you might pinch it. And
I think that's a disappointing thing. And he's dead right in what he says. We just didn't put a foot on them. Didn't put a tackle in hardly. Didn't maybe Steve Clark will look at it and think maybe he got it wrong a little bit. Players just didn't perform on the day. And top team like Germany, you're looking at Müller coming off the bench. Emre Can coming off the bench, scoring the fifth goal in the end, and even our goal was an own goal. So we didn't threaten too much. We deserved absolutely not a lot from the game at all. So hopefully I'll learn a little bit from it. Still only need 4 points to go through.
Yeah.
So I think the top two go through, and then I'm not sure how many, but I think there's about maybe 6 third place teams go through, if I'm correct. I'm not too sure on that. So be the best at the third place teams, and you can still
a chance
through. Yeah, so we need something from the next 2 games, a draw and a win.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll learn from that, and hopefully they've been ridiculed a bit through the press. That's always right. That's always good for 1 or 2.
I've seen a fair bit of social media come out. So nothing like the fans to get you going. Switzerland 3-1 over Hungary. Spain 3-0 over Croatia. Boy, they look classy.
Yeah, they're good.
Italy 2-1 over Albania, but Italy did go down 1-0 to start off with. But again, Italy did look pretty classy. Netherlands versus Poland. Netherlands pinching that 2-1 wasn't convincing.
No, they know how to get the job done, though, right?
Yeah, they did come back, because I think did Poland go ahead, didn't they? Yeah. So they did get the job done. Denmark and Slovenia 1-1.
Yeah, Eriksson.
Yes, he did. He did. He got the
equaliser.
Yeah,
so good for him.
Yeah. Romania over Ukraine 3-0. Did that reasonably convincingly. Slovakia 1-0 over Belgium.
Yeah,
Belgium 2 disallowed goals.
Yeah, that's probably the shock of the first round results there, isn't it? So
very much so.
Yeah.
And France, I didn't see the game. Only 1-0 over.
One goal as well.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And Mbappe got a whack in the nose, so potentially out for the tournament. I haven't heard latest on that.
Sure, he'll be fine, eh?
Yeah. Just put a guard over his nose.
He'll be fine.
Away you go. Turkey 3-1 over Georgia.
First, do you see the first goal?
I didn't. I haven't watched the game.
Turkey's first goal.
And they call him the Turkey Messi. Is that right?
I don't know. The strike was a joke. But already a contender for goal of the tournament.
Yeah, right. I'll have to see that on the highlights.
Yeah, cracking.
And Portugal coming through in the end over Czechoslovakia 2-1.
Yeah, Czechs. Yeah. Late goal as well, 91 minutes, 92 minutes.
Yeah, again, I only heard it on the news this morning, but something to look forward to tonight to watch the highlights. And then England, they did get the win against Serbia, but I have to say I didn't see the first half, and obviously a good goal by Bellingham. Second half was woeful.
Yeah,
I thought. I mean, I don't know whether they were just a bit gun-shocked from Serbia coming out in the second half, because Serbia just came out absolutely fine.
Yeah, the first half England were excellent. Bellingham's he was unbelievable. And then second half, it's just as well they held on to that, because if they got a draw or anything there, they'd have been all over.
I mean, France were lucky not to go down. That's the thing, 1-0, and all of a sudden it only takes one shot. And most of the goals I've seen so far all been way outside the box.
Yeah.
These guys can hit them from anywhere.
Well, it's already, he's under pressure, Southgate, from the get-go. They expect so much. And as soon as if he dropped any points, it would have been down to, if he'd selected this guy or that guy, he might have come on and made a difference. And people are still saying that after watching the second half, but they get the win, and that's all you need to do, is it? Get the win.
Well, that's right. But it was just so close. And I just wondered whether they said we've got to park the bus and just keep. It's almost like they just wanted to keep their lead. They honestly were, I thought, pretty woeful.
Yeah, I thought Saka and Bellingham were the two picks. Especially in the first half.
Yeah.
Couldn't deal with Saka out there. He was running amok. But second half would be disappointing. Yeah,
it's almost like there's we've almost got this game won, but geez, there were some close calls, and it only takes one, and all of a sudden
good saves from Pickford as well. Keep him in it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So they'll certainly talk about that. If we look at the games coming up, we've got Croatia versus Albania tomorrow. Germany taking on Hungary. I think that'd be fairly convincing, but you never know.
Hungary a decent side as well. I mean,
not bad.
They've just been beating off Switzerland, but they in the qualifying rounds they were excellent in qualifying for this tournament.
Right.
So I'm worried about Scotland again.
Switzerland and Scotland. I mean, that's not an easy game, is it?
Nah, it's no easy games. But as I said, hopefully, after Germany, maybe a few players there feeling a bit, then they've got a little bit more to prove than what they did.
Yeah.
So they know they need is it one of them? Do you go out and not lose a game, go out and try and win the game? Because Scotland can't afford to lose that game. They need at least a point.
Well, in a way, you've got to at least where you are, and in a way, that's a good driver.
Yeah.
And if you say to yourself, "Gee, we've really got to get something out of these next. What have we got to lose?"
Yeah, that's right. But
and that to me is Scottish football. That's taking them on.
Yeah, but Scotland sometimes when I've got the backs up against the wall, that's sometimes when they're a little bit better. So for me, it's a game we mustn't lose. Go for a draw would be great there, and then you go into the Hungary game and you're looking for a win. They give you the 4 points, and that might see you through in one of those third place spots.
Slovenia and Serbia, Denmark and England. Well, this is not an easy game for England either.
Not at all. Danish are good.
Yeah.
Eriksen's back. And that'll be a tough one. But I think England, they always find a way. They always do find a way.
They've got the talent.
The talent's a joke. The players they've got is unbelievable talent on there. So, yep, I think England will probably just go over the line. I'll go for a 2-1 England.
Well, there you go. Good. That's positive. Spain and Italy, that probably, I think that's maybe game of the round. Because
absolutely.
They had two big guns. And
Netherlands, France as well.
Well, yeah, actually, that's a good point. I just looked down that. So Spain, Italy, then we got Slovakia, Ukraine, Poland and Austria. Good to see Poland back in some form. But Netherlands and France. The Netherlands weren't that convincing. So
neither were France, though.
No, that's right.
Again, France full of, we just spoke about England with their ability. France are the same. Spain and Italy, Netherlands, France, 2 games. There's both on at a decent hour, 7 a.m. So we might have to tune into them.
Get up early on a Saturday. Georgia and Czechoslovakia, Turkey, which is going to be interesting. And Portugal, that'd be a good game. And Belgium, they need to recover. But Romania won't be easy beats. That's for sure.
No, Belgium's need a win next. They'll need a win.
Yeah.
Portugal just getting past in the last minutes, as we've spoken about. So, again, probably Belgium, you would think, be too strong. And Portugal, Turkey, that could be anyone's, because Turkey is a decent side.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate them. So, but
it's all to play for. And you do, I mean, one thing that I guess Southgate has done in the past is, the team has built as a tournament's gone on.
To do that,
so it could be just the fact that he's, that they're trying to build into the tournament. But if you don't get those early results, you could find yourself out. So all to do, and we'll look forward to lots of football over the next few days.
Good. It keeps the the end of season, and then you've just got a little bit of pre-season before they get back into the Premiership, and it all gets going again. So
There's not much.
Don't get much rest.
Not much break at all. No. That's right. Thank you very much for coming in, Neil, and
Thank you.
fantastic to have our guests in
Yeah,
to talk
great.
about the women's game and
Great to hear from him.
development. So good luck this weekend on
you.
Sunday.
Thank you.
Let's hope we get that result and
Yeah.
get closer to that third spot. That's it for this week's episode. My thanks to our venue sponsor, the Turf Hotel. Thanks to Stan and the team. Our guests, Katie Adams and Cherie Llewellyn, and of course, our co-host Neil Connell. Special thanks to Bays Joinery for their support. You can catch this and other podcasts on NBS Talk Nelson. You can catch us on the social media channels or on Spotify, NBS Talk Nelson. And we'll see you again next week on Bays Joinery Football Focus.
What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.